of the things she mentioned is that most people do not have regrets. That most of the women said that they do not have regrets after they have the abortion, and that very small has any mental illnesses. However, I'd like to bring up that most of the women that do have abortions do not necessarily tell the father of the child or tell their significant other or whoever they're in a relationship that they had the abortion, making the men, if they wanted to have a child, if they have that in their being, that they would regret not being able to father their child or take responsibility for their actions. And then, and this is because the father's wishes have equal status with the mother's wishes, and both parents tend to have equal financial and moral and legal responsibilities for a child that is born. Sure, not every guy wants to accept responsibility for also having sexual activity, but some men do have that being inside them to take control and do the right thing. She also mentioned that not everyone is religious, and that it's not good to impose religious ideas onto other people. But Roe versus Wade overturns national legalization, is overturned, and it leaves it to the states to reflect on the demographic of the states, states with more cultural religious characteristics. And it's unfair to impose natural law, especially if the majority of the states is a religious culture. So under the Constitution, under the Constitution, all states makes abortion illegal. However, most states do not agree with this because of their religious and cultural activities. She also mentions that, also to bring up the religious ideas, that one of the most important parts of bringing up the religious is that they think of the sacred life. And she brings up that vitro fertilization is murder because parts of the embryos and the sperm that do not work well together in the petri dish, they're just thrown away. But the act of vitro fertilization is to try to create a child outside of the womb, because some women's bodies and some guys' sperm does not act well together in the body. But outside in the science environment, it can work. And also she says that it'd be murder, or it's not considered murder, because even though they are cells, they are just thrown away, and that's not considered murder. However, a scientific view of life beginnings by the Charlotte Lozer Institute states that in contrast to human embryos, human cells are alive, and under some circumstances, they can assemble into primitive tissues and structures, yet under no circumstances do human cells produce the kind of coordinated interactions necessary for building a full integrated human body. They behave like cells and not like organisms. Now, the human embryos are still cells, and they contain identities, and they have the process of creating human life, but however, they do not interact with the sperm, and they do not react with the eggs, or the sperm do not react. It does not have the capability of controlling life. But the most important part of vitro fertilization is that it gives the option of having a child. She also mentions that women should not be punished for pregnancy, and that pregnancy should be a blessing. In this society, having the ability to abortion, it makes sexual activity a less sacred activity, and makes the child be unwanted, because that's not the purpose of them doing the act. And so the abortion can be a cause for why people do not think of pregnancy as a blessing, because they didn't either expect to be having a child, and that's not what they wanted in the first place, because they were doing activities for pure amusement. And also, studies show that the main people that have abortions are rich women, and it's not because they have they can't take care of the child, but it's because for convenience. Rich women, they see a child and they're like, I don't want to have this child because it affects on my lifestyle. And yes, there are low-income families that cannot abort their child either, because it's not available for them, it's more expensive, and they have to have that child. but there are government programs that take care of them, and they end up having more respect for their children because of also the community that it creates. So, in conclusion, that by repealing Roe versus Wade, it makes it that states have to decide on their cultural, religious circumstances and can decide for abortion or not. That men also are affected by abortion because of their ingrown need and their love for children or for their taking responsibility. And that vitro fertilization is for creating a child outside of the womb when they can't have one. And also, most abortions are done for convenience. That they're not done because they have economic issues.